Is this on? Oh, it is. We could. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice. And be glad in it. This is how I testify. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. Amen. I'm just testing. So during the meeting, if anybody has a question, I'm going to play like game show host on the audience so that we can all hear. So I'm testing that it works. Vanna just kind of stands. She doesn't have a microphone. Yeah. I did this for a prayer service. They're like, you could work a game show with that. So I'm prepared. Yeah.
Well, that was a good transition, I guess. Let's start. It's 11:15. I'm going to call the 163rd annual meeting of the First Congregational United Church of Christ to order. I am Andrew Mersil. I am your moderator for 15 more minutes. Optimist, yeah. And so we're going to call this meeting to order. If you look in your packet, most of you, if you got an updated packet this morning, the agenda is on the front page. Some of you might have a separate agenda leaflet, but we'll kind of work our way through the packet as we go. So we're going to start actually with the prayers and remembrance of those of our church family whom we have lost this past year.
Well, let us pray. Good and gracious God, God who is with us always, who continues to speak, whose spirit blows in unpredictable ways. Thank you for this faith community and the remarkable people that make it what it is. I especially thank you for the many leaders, those in formal and informal roles, who shared their time, energy, and talents to continue your ministry and mission during the pastoral transition time. At this meeting 1 year ago, no one could picture how today would look. God, you bless these beloved people to step up, show up, granting them perseverance, as I'm sure some struggled with patience, until the day of full staffing, especially the ordained minister role, finally came. Thank you for them and for all who held them and this congregation in prayer. With full staffing, may we hear your call, finding new ways to welcome all, to do justice, and to love kindness. We are excited for the year ahead, and we pause to remember the faithful leaders and the members of First Congregational who have joined the Community of Saints Triumphant this past year. Pete Noreen, Barbara Burdick, Frank Burdick, and Ed Smith. We remember their lives and legacy and the difference they made. May their memory always be a blessing and their work and life an inspiration. Now bless us in our time together as we do the human work required here on earth to live and love as boldly, radically, controversially, and extravagantly as Jesus did. And all of God's children said, Amen.
Thank you for that. If you'll see in your packet, you'll see that the dedication this year is different. Typically, we pick out a person or a group of people that have done extraordinary, exemplary work on behalf of the church in years past. And this year, that is all of you. Every single one of our church family members have stepped up to make sure that in this time of transition that everything ran as smoothly as possible. Many people took on additional roles and responsibilities, and there are too many to count. Last year, our dedication was to Deb and Alan Benoit, who do exemplary work every single day on behalf of the church, and I think really set a standard for what happened this year with everybody stepping up. So thank you, Deb and Alan, again for your continued leadership. So much happening behind the scenes. A special recognition for our search committee that worked diligently for over a year to find what became our next senior pastor, Renee Melberg. So special recognition for the search committee. Let's give them a round of applause. And as Renee starts to roll, it's hard to remember that she's only been here for 6 weeks. I'm sure it feels longer, Renee, but
In all the good ways.
all the good ways, yes. But it is hard. It's important to remember that all the additional roles and responsibilities that people took on to make sure that the church would continue have been taken on, and known that we can't just automatically put them all back on Renee right away. And so I thank you for your continued service, for all the things that you continue to do as we move forward as our church family. All right, having said that, it is time for the appointment of a parliamentarian. This is something that we do every single year to make sure that we have somebody who knows how to run the meeting and to make sure that we're following Robert's Rules of Order. So with that, I would open the floor for a nomination to appoint a parliamentarian.
I nominate Jill.
There's been a nomination by for Jill Schwebs to serve as a parliamentarian. Is there a second?
Second. I second.
There's a second from Toby. Are there any further nominations?
Does she accept?
Oh, Jill accepts. I'm sorry, Jill, do you accept? Oh, perfect, good. All those in favor of appointing Jill to be the parliamentarian for the 163rd annual meeting, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, Jill. After that, we have moved on to the establishment of a quorum. Quorum consists of 10% of our members, and I believe we have a count, and we have met quorum. Is that accurate? Wonderful. Okay. Moving on, the next part in your book, page 4 of your book, would be the minutes of the 162nd annual meeting from April 28th, 2004. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Move to accept.
Move from Margie,
Second.
and a second from Kathy Colvin. Are there any questions or discussions about the minutes from last year? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the 162nd annual meeting, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Excellent. After the minutes in your packet, we're going to move on to the various reports, starting with the ordained minister's report and working our way through the deacon reports. At this time, are there any questions or need of further clarification on any of the reports as they have been presented? Going once? Going twice? Toby?
I just want to say that this annual report is just amazing. All the reports were so excellent. And I just really think everybody should be commended. It's just really well done.
Thank you for that, Toby. And special thanks goes to Oksana, as well as Jeannie and Nita for helping assemble such a wonderful report. Are there any questions or comments about the reports from the deacons and other church leaders? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the reports from the deacons and leaders as presented. Heather, did you have a question? Oh, okay. So moved from Joe Pluff. Is there a second to accept the reports from Margie? Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving and accepting the reports from the deacons and church leadership, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Excellent. We're going to go on to a quick recognition of the church leadership in this last year. Again, like I mentioned, these are just some of the standard ones. There have been so many people that have stepped up, that have done extraordinary work, oftentimes behind the scenes. So thank you for that. Deb Benoit as our head usher. Kathy Colvin, Deb Westlick, and Adrian Harmston as the Sanctuary Guild, who continually work, especially this last year, to make sure everything looks so wonderful. And Deb to make sure that everyone runs the church service as efficiently as possible. She carries a quiet stick, but it's effective. The custodial help of Alan Benoit, Kathy Colvin, Tom Schmelsley, and so many others. Particularly Alan. I see Al, when I would come to church, he'd be on a ladder again, and I'd be like, Alan, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I gotta fix another thing, right? So really amazing work that everyone has done this last year. Financial secretaries Renee, John Bloomquist, Alan Benoit, Rose McLean, Terry Nelson, Bill Grambo, and Ron Welsh for making sure that all the money gets counted accurately so that we can present you a budget for approval on this later meeting and keep us in line throughout the year and understand better where we are financially as a church service. I'll let Tom talk a little bit about the budget later, but it's really been quite impressive what we've been able to accomplish this last year. Personnel Committee is Cheryl Hunick, past moderator Neera Fitzgerald, John Bloomquist, Diane Mersil, Jane Hoyt, and Ellen Oakes. This has been a particularly interesting year with the additional staffing that we've provided. We are, for the first time in a long time, fully staffed. It's quite an accomplishment, and big thanks to the Personnel Committee for doing that work. Plan Giving has been chaired by Jeannie Rotop, with Rose McLean as the treasurer, Ken Schofield as our secretary, and additions of Kristen Billingsley and Tom Schmelzey have been really, really wonderful to make sure that we can continue the work of the church for years to come. The Thursdays table board with Cheryl Hunick, Chris Pulowski, Connie Flug, Bobette Tunnyhill, Jay Ivins, Don Hefner, Jill Schwebs, Gary Barnett, and Tom Schmelzey for making sure that those who are in need in our community continue to receive the sustenance and that we can do our part to provide some of that. It's really been inspirational over the years to see the addition of the other tables, the other day tables that we've been adding. And if we could get a couple more, we could make sure that those in our community will continue to be fed every single day. So it's really impressive. We still have the best food. No slight to any of the other tables, but it's really impressive, the work. And then special recognition to our fully staffed church staff. We're so excited to have Pastor Renee Melberg here as our ordained minister, Karen Miller, our director of faith formation, and so much more over this last year. Really incredible work that she's done and taken on to make sure that our church would run smoothly. Oksana as our yes, special thanks to Karen. Oksana as our office manager and organist, accompanist. When Oksana first started, I know that there was a lot, I'm sure, a lot of pressure felt because we value music so much in this congregation. And she's really done such a phenomenal job of not only keeping the office engaged, she has saved the church countless amounts of money since her start. She's very diligent about looking in. I think there was, my favorite example was the elevator maintenance. She was like, why are we paying for the gold package? Silver's fine. Saving us countless amounts of money. It's been really impressive. And then providing such wonderful music and learning the organ so beautifully. Gail Scamper and Rick Bauer, who make sure that our church and its facilities stay as clean as possible. Dean Langby, as our music director, who is not here today, but has really done such a phenomenal job, especially in the time of transition, finding musical artists to come in and provide such beautiful music for us. That's really wonderful. Dominique Stewart as our choir director. The enthusiasm that the choir exudes is really impressive. I was so thrilled at the Easter service. Very uplifting, very moving. It's the best I think the choir has sounded since Pinckney's tenure, obviously, but yes.
I would like to thank the drummer that got us started that day.
Sally would like to thank the drummer that was me trying to start church last Sunday for Easter when we were so excited to be here and talkative. Thank you for that.
He is here to bell, no?
Yeah. Kathy Weissman is our bell choir director, really doing a phenomenal job, especially Kathy has been so influential to get bell people that she even attracted our pastor to be part of the bell choir. So it's really quite impressive. And then Amy Riddle Swanson, who's upstairs right now, diligently working still as our live stream coordinator. All the staff have done such a wonderful job, so let's give them a big round of applause. Okay. Now we're going to move into the stewardship report, followed by the budget. So Sherry is going to come up and do a little presentation.
It's a very little presentation. You've been hearing from me a lot over the last couple months. With well over 90% of the 24-25 budgeted income having been received, we are meeting the financial needs of our church and its wider mission. Gifts of time and talent shared by the congregation when Pastor Kathleen retired in July. In July, kept our ministry alive. Our 25-26 stewardship drive goal to raise $257,028 at this time has met $239,945. We are so close. That's with about 94 pledges and leaving a shortfall of about $17,000. We're just really grateful to have exceeded last year's budget of $228,028, but we just need that bit more revenue increase to reach our goal. So with the congregation's support, we are confident that we can achieve that balanced budget again this year. Our church has a way of making each of us welcome and putting to good use everyone's talents. Each gift of time and talent is embraced and put to use within our church family. And any additional pledges and giving are also appreciated as we work toward our pledging goals. Any questions about stewardship or pledging? No? Okay. So now I think we can entertain an approval for the church budget for 25-26. Nita? All right.
Now we'll start with discussion.
Yep.
Jeannie.
Jeannie, yeah, sorry. You want- That's a great idea. You just want me to get out of the road?
Okay, well, thank you all for being here. I don't remember, it seems like this is more people this year than I've seen in recent years, so thank you. I hope you have less questions. Or no questions. First of all, I want to thank the financial team who make this possible. That would be Rose and the counters, Oksana, and Sharon Herman, our bookkeeper at By the Book. They're really the ones who make this happen. I'm kind of a figurehead. I just, as Pinckney said a couple of years ago, I just come in and sign checks and drink coffee and have fun. So it's a good way to do it. I'd also like to thank Jeannie for her help again this year in putting the budget together. She's been instrumental. She's the spreadsheet person. I'm not a very good spreadsheet person, so that works. It makes our third year of doing this, so makes it a little easier. So, without any further ado, let's get to it. So I'm going to suggest that we keep this simple and short, and that's what we're going to do. If you were at the budget hearing a couple weeks ago, we talked about what the change in the budget was from last year. Our budget increases in 3 areas that causes us to have that increase. And if you go to the bottom line on the 3rd page, that tells the tale of the tape. We had increase in personnel, increase in worship, and increase in property. The increase in property was primarily because of the $8,500 insurance premium that went up, and we will be working on that at some point here to see if we can do a little better job of that. I'm afraid it's like property insurance for all of us. Whether you have a claim or not, you get a raise. Personnel, I just want to again reiterate, full staff. Full staff for the first time in God knows how long. And that's really exciting. Now, the other side of that is you have to remember, and that is we have a full staff, so we have the salaries that go with full staff too. But that's good. That's a good problem to have. That really is. So those are the three areas. Our staff received a 2.5% increase, and so that took care of that. That's good, okay? Bottom line. If we look at the bottom line now, on the last page, you see, and this wasn't done 10 minutes ago or whatever, it's a couple days ago, but if you look, you will see that it shows a shortfall, a $28,000 increase, all right? And projected pledges and other income, a deficit of $36,000. So how do we get to, yes?
What page are we on?
The final page of the budget.
What number is that?
Oh, it would be three if there were numbers there. It's not in the booklet. Okay.
Does anybody else need a budget?
So we are projecting a budget. You heard, I believe Sherry said that the budget as of this morning is $17,000. We've had bigger deficits, smaller deficits. This is doable. Let me tell you how we plan to meet that deficit. All right? We've got about three ways that we're talking about how we can meet the deficit. One is that we receive more income in terms of pledges or additional pays. That's one way to do it. The second way is that planned giving, through their flow-through monies, will be able to offer, upon request, to have dollars go to certain areas, like mission. There's money in planned giving in the flow-through monies that can be used for that. And finally, the third way that we can meet the deficit is we've not had an ordained minister since, or settled minister since July 1st or June 30th of last year. We have accrued savings in that, and we can use that accrued savings to in our checking account to help pay for the deficit. That's been good. What we've said is that we would not exceed $25,000 of the accrued savings that we have. We've got a bit more of that, but that would be as needed, not automatically drawn. The same thing with drawing resources from planned giving, and I forgot to mention capital campaign. That would be as needed. Not an automatic checkbook to say we're going to take that and use it. It would be as needed. If we garner enough donations to do what we need to do, we won't touch those funds, but they're there as a safety net for us. Somebody said to me, well, Bill Grambo said to me, you know, as long as he could remember, we've had a deficit budget, a proposed deficit budget. And he said, we always find a way to make it work. And I'm hopeful that that'll be what we do again this year, that will continue. I want to say also that the council on Thursday night at their meeting unanimously approved this budget and comes to you with the recommendation that this is the budget for us for the following year. At this point, short and simple, questions? This budget was produced by our deacons. A lot of times there was no let's get this to get this. This was what they presented. This is what they asked for. We know where the dollars are in our budget. We know where they are in cutting programs and those kind of things. Frankly, our nickels and dimes. Our money is in our personnel, our property, and those things. And we do not want to cut property. We do not want to cut personnel. We don't want to do those things. So here's where we are. Come on.
Move the approval of this budget as printed.
I was going to say, I think we already have a motion because we're in the discussion part. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm taking the parliamentarian's role. I apologize. Is there
Joe? Joe?
Move to
No, move to close discussion, basically calling the question.
On the floor to close discussion, with a second. Any further discussion? Oh, it's an automatic thing. All those in favor of closing discussion on the budget signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. Discussion closed. The motion on the floor is to accept the 2025-2026 budget as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? It's done. Thank you. Thank you, especially to Tom and everybody.
Told you, Roger, we'd be out of here by 1:45.
Okay. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize the important work that the church council has done over this last year. Though the church family has all stepped up to do things to make sure that our church would continue, it's been extraordinary work by our church council and the dedication that they have presented. This year we are only terming off one individual, and that is Kurt McNamara is terming off as our music deacon, and then Nita Fitzgerald as our past moderator. So those are the two individuals that will be free. Free from service, but most likely will continue their dedication to the church, as they always have.
From council.
Yes, from council, not from church. Yeah. So special thank you to Kurt and Nita for all their work. Nita really has been amazing when she took on the position of vice moderator after not having a vice moderator. I don't think any of us had anticipated that we would end up in the position that we did with a minister leaving. And nobody has been put in that position as a moderator with the minister leaving since Jill. So it's helpful to have Jill as a secretary so they could commiserate in the struggles. But it's really impressive. Nita has done so much to make sure that our church work has continued and getting involved in so many things to update procedures, policies, our new website, which is absolutely stunning. All of that could not have been possible without the work of Nita. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. If you look on the back or second to back page of your packet, you're going to see the nominating committee report, which was accepted, but we will have to do an approval of the council and plan giving members. So Rick Nogler has agreed to step in as our vice moderator. Very exciting. And then hopefully if your nominating committee report is on the back of your packet, you'll also see that as of about 6 days ago, we didn't have a music deacon. But now we do, because Deanna Schultz has agreed to step up and be our music deacon. So it really is quite impressive, and Jeannie has done such an amazing job. Most of these terms are 2-year terms, and then of course Margie, as our care ministries, has broken the mold and agreed to stay on for a 3rd term, and so maybe we can get a 4th, 5th, or 6th out of her as well. But we'll worry about that next year when her 3rd term is up. And then, of course, Jeannie has continued on as Plan Giving, which has been so impressive. I'm so thankful for the retirees. But really, it's really been impressive. And Jeannie and Plan Giving has done so much to move us forward with Thanco, and now Nita's work with linking it to the website to make sure that we can meet those budgetary goals has been really impressive. So, your slate of candidates are there as they have been presented. I would entertain, are there any questions about the incoming church council leadership? I'll be moving to the position of past moderator. Jeannie will be moving up as moderator. Rick as our vice moderator, and then with the addition of Deanna Schultz as our music deacon. Everyone else will be staying in place. So, hearing no discussion, I'd entertain a motion to approve the church council for the 25-26 year as presented. Oh, there's a couple of motions. Take your pick, Jill. Is there a second? Second from Doris and Toby and everyone. Great. Jill, did you get all that? Okay, great. All those in favor of approving the church council for next year, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That's it. Thank you, church council members, for agreeing to serve. Please sit. So it's really been quite an honor and privilege to serve as your moderator in this interesting year that we have had before us. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that it didn't come with its challenges, but I am so thankful for each and every one of you for stepping up to help. As a full-time working professional who's involved in many things, it would not have been possible for me to have made it through this year without you. So thank you for that. This is the shepherd, which I reminded myself 432 times to grab off my desk at home and had to leave church to go get it because I still forgot it. So with that, that is the official passing of the shepherd to Jeannie as our moderator. All right, we're exactly at 30 minutes. Bravo. We'll end with with God be with you till we meet again, after we entertain a motion to adjourn the annual meeting. With Sally as a motion, is there a second from Toby? Oh, from Margie. Oh, you're just very close to each other, sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, let's end with God be with you till we meet again. 1, 2, 3, 4. God be with you till we meet again. By his counsels God uphold you. With his shield securely fold you. God be with you till we meet again. Thanks, everyone.